All right, welcome to Fanatics Football, a football segment of the Fantasy Fanatics Podcast. I'm your host once again, James, and I'm joined once again by Mete, Terry, and Nate. What's up, boys?
What up?
So,
Hey, yo.
All right, in today's episode, taking a look at week 15 scores for all the games that happened. We'll recap those, and then we'll head into the fantasy football pickups for the week. We're talking about pickups. Most leagues are in their fantasy football playoffs at the moment. Definitely have some good players for you guys to pick up. And then we'll move right into the preview for week 16. I think there's only 3 weeks left in the NFL season, so a lot of interesting games at hand. So we'll look at the spreads there, and I guess project winners for the games and give out some fantasy options for that. So yeah, let's just hop right into it. We'll start with the Thursday night game. The Kansas City Chiefs winning in overtime against the LA Chargers, 34-28. I guess I'll just get to the stats for the Chiefs first. Looking at passing, Patrick Mahomes, 410 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. In terms of rushing, Mahomes led the team with 3 carries for 32 yards. Clyde Edwards-Helaire also had 32 yards on 9 carries. And Michael Burton's 1 carry went for 7 yards and a rushing touchdown. Getting to receiving, Travis Kelce, 10 catches for 191 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, 12 catches for 148 yards and 1 touchdown. And Byron Pringle had 3 for 22. Nate, I'm going to get to you on Kansas City. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this big win?
it's a really big win. It was almost down to the wire, but they were able to get it in overtime. I think the Chargers are a really good offense, so you can't really shut down a team like the Chargers, so you just have to outgun them, and Kansas City did.
Yeah, they definitely did outgun them in this game. There were a lot of chances that the Chargers could have put the game away, but that didn't happen. We'll get to the stats for the Chargers now. Justin Herbert, 236 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and an interception. In terms of rushing, Justin Jackson, 13 carries, 86 yards. Austin Eckler, 12 carries for 59 yards and a rushing touchdown. And then Justin Herbert at 5 carries for 16 yards and a rushing touchdown. Getting to receiving, Keenan Allen, 6 catches, 78 yards and a receiving touchdown. Mike Williams, 3 for 49. And Jared Cook, 3 catches for 32 yards. While Jalen Guyton had 2 catches for 10 and a receiving touchdown. Mete, let me get to you on the Chargers. I guess, what are your thoughts on this loss?
This was pretty frustrating, honestly. They started down like 10-0, and I was thinking to myself, the Chiefs are about to blow them out, but they made a really good game out of it. Twice on 4th and goal, they go for it. They didn't get anything. And a couple other times they went for it on 4th and 1, 4th and 2, something like that. So yeah, they didn't convert a lot of 4th downs. I think nowadays a lot of teams just love going for it on 4th down. If it's like a couple yards, they don't even think about it because analytics tells you, oh, going for it is the play. But I don't know. I feel like kicking and punting nowadays is kind of underrated.
Yeah, I think analytics is good, but you got to know where and when to use it. I feel like teams are just abusing it at this point just because of the click percentages that you can sort of make it. That I feel like they use it in the wrong situations and they get themselves in trouble, not being able to get points at key times. And that's sort of what the Chargers did. Could have easily put this game away with a couple field goals there at the end. Didn't happen. Chiefs came and won it in overtime. Let's move to the next game now. The Indianapolis Colts beating the New England Patriots 27-17. Getting to the stats for the Colts. In terms of passing, Carson Wentz didn't have to do much here. 12 attempts, 57 yards, passing touchdown, and an interception. In terms of rushing, Jonathan Taylor, big day, 29 carries, 170 yards, and a rushing touchdown. Then in terms of receiving, Zach Pascal, 1 catch for 23. T.Y. Hilton, 1 catch for 19 yards. And then Nyheim Hines, 1 catch for 8 yards and a receiving touchdown. Terry, let me get to you on the Colts. I guess, what are your thoughts on this win?
Jonathan Taylor's becoming a beast at running back right now. I mean, 170 yards on 29 carries with the touchdown. And then he iced the game away for the Indianapolis Colts with that 67-yard rush. I know it was probably heartbreaking for James over here, as he is the Patriots fan out of the 4 of us. All I can say is Jonathan Taylor is going to be an interesting guy to look forward to, whether it be fantasy or when it comes to building a team around in the future. The one game behind the Titans in the NFC South for the top spot, so it's just one step in the right direction for these guys. They're on a 2-game winning streak, and good luck to them next week.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as a Patriots fan, you just got to respect what this Colts team's doing. I mean, as soon as Taylor got the ball and he got past the first set of defenders, I knew he was gone. There's no way when you stack the box like that you can catch a guy running at that speed. And yeah, Taylor's an amazing player. Definitely had a great run there. We'll get to the Patriots now. In terms of passing, Mac Jones, 299 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions. In terms of rushing, Ramondre Stevenson, 10 carries for 36 yards. And then through the air, Hunter Henry, 6 catches, 77 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. N'Keal Harry, 2 catches for 52 yards. Kendrick Bourne, 3 for 44. And Jacoby Myers, 6 catches, and they went for 44 yards. Nate, I'll get to on the Patriots. I guess, what are your thoughts?
Well, I guess my general thoughts are they should pass to their tight ends more because Hunter Henry was basically carrying most of the offensive load, and he got most of the touchdowns for them. So I feel like generally this could be a case of a lot of tight ends aren't getting enough targets. So I feel like more teams should be targeting the tight ends more.
Yeah, definitely, especially the Patriots. They got 2 like solid, I'd say probably 2 of the top 15 tight ends in the league play for the Patriots. So you got good playmakers there. You definitely got to get them the ball. And yeah, Hunter Henry made some fantastic catches in this game. I definitely agree with you on that. Tough loss for the Patriots. They just got to move on. They got a big divisional game against Buffalo this coming week. So we'll get now to the Sunday slate. Dallas Cowboys beating the New York Giants 21-6. Big game for the Cowboys here. We'll get to the stats. Dak Prescott, 217 passing yards and a passing touchdown. Tony Pollard, 12 carries for 74 yards. Ezekiel Elliott, 16 carries for 52 yards and a rushing touchdown. Then through the air, Dalton Schultz, 8 catches, 67 yards and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, 6 catches for 50 yards. Michael Gallup, 3 for 32. And Jeremy Sprinkle, 2 catches for 21 yards. Mete, I'll get to you on the Cowboys. I guess, what are your thoughts on this win?
Yeah, it's another game where the defense carried. The offense was a little bit better, I'd say, but it's not looking like their usual selves. But yeah, having Tony Pollard back out there was great. He led the team in rushing. And hopefully next week they can get the NFC East wrapped up and rest Elliott as he's battling some injuries, but he's still playing through it. So yeah, hopefully this week, I guess, they get it done.
Yeah, for sure. Elliott, obviously, he hasn't had that burst that he's had in the past. He's still getting it done in the red zone. Nice to see him getting a touchdown here. We'll get to the Giants now. In terms of passing, both Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm passed for under 100 yards, 3 interceptions for Glennon. Not a real solid day overall for either of the two. In terms of rushing, Devontae Booker, 8 carries for 74 yards. Saquon Barkley, 15 for 50. And then in terms of receiving, Kenny Golladay, 3 catches, 53 yards. Evan Ingram, 4 for 33 yards. And then Saquon Barkley had 4 catches for 24 yards. I guess I'll get to you, Terry, on the Giants. I guess, what are your thoughts on this team?
I mean, the Giants, this ain't their year right now. You got to deal with injuries with guys like Saquon Barkley, and then you have the situation with Daniel Jones not playing this game, and you have to start Mike Glennon. It's not really a way to play spoilers against this juggernaut of a Dallas Cowboys offense, and you can't really combat that when you're only putting up 6 points. Outside of that, I mean, there's nothing that much else to say. I mean, Kenny Galladay's their lead receiver right now. You're hoping for a guy like, oh my God, I forgot the rookie wide receiver.
Kadarius Toney, yeah.
Yeah, that guy right there. You're hoping for him to possibly like get healthy for next year, but outside of that, I mean, it's not that much else you can do. Just play your vets, try not to overwork them to cause injury. But outside of that, I mean, better luck next year.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think there is a chance Kadarius Toney comes off the COVID list for this coming week's game. But like you said, it's pretty much a write-off at this point for that team. Doesn't look like Daniel Jones is going to play most likely. And yeah, honestly, like you said, better luck next year. Definitely looking forward to the future. We'll move on to the next game. Houston Texans, they've been playing pretty well lately. Ever since Davis Mills started getting the starts again. Yeah, 30 points from this team. They beat the Jaguars 30-16. We'll look at the stats. We'll start with Davis Mills, 209 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And then in terms of rushing, Rex Burkhead, 16 carries for 41 yards. Then moving to receiving, Brandon Cooks, 7 catches, 102 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Philip Dorsett, 2 for 43, and Jordan Akins, 2 catches for 24 yards. Nate, I'll get to you on the Texans. It's a pretty big win for them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is against the Jaguars. They don't have the best defense, but at the same time, the Texans don't have the best offense either. So it became a case of who can use what they have better, and I guess the Texans are better at that.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the way Davis Mills has been playing lately, he's a great guy to sort of transition them through this rebuild period. They don't really have to necessarily draft a quarterback right away. He's sort of that placeholder guy. You can definitely build a team around him, and then definitely draft a quarterback, I guess, in a couple of years, and then sort of drop him into that situation. Definitely have some great results. So I like what the Texans have going so far. We'll get to the Jaguars now. In terms of passing, Trevor Lawrence, 210 passing yards for him. In terms of rushing, James Robinson, 18 carries for 75 yards and a rushing touchdown. And then through the air, we have James O'Shaughnessy, who led with 4 catches for 60 yards. Laquan Treadwell, 6 for 57. And Laviska Shenault, 4 catches for 39 yards. Mete, I'll get to you on Jacksonville. I guess, what are your thoughts on this team?
Yeah, I know specifically this game was like a toilet bowl, but I kind of was expecting them to win this game. They're at home. They just fired Urban Myers, and yeah, the locker room didn't sound like it was great there. So I thought they'd be fired up and ready to go, but yeah, the Texans played great. Like you said, ever since Mills took over, they've been looking much better. And I guess my thoughts on this team, they're just a rebuilding team. Looks like it might be the number 1 overall pick again for the draft. We'll see in the upcoming weeks. I think going forward, they might need to invest in like wide receivers, tight ends. Their weapons there aren't the greatest, and obviously they got to work on the defense.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. There's a lot of holes on this team. Yeah, whether it's wide receiver, whether it's up front, both on the offensive line and the defensive line, there's just a lot of holes. Definitely have a lot to fix. So it's pretty much just a transition year for the Jaguars. We'll move to the next game. Pittsburgh Steelers beating the Tennessee Titans 19-13. A great game for Pittsburgh, especially on defense. They got a lot of turnovers in this game. In terms of offense, though, Ben Roethlisberger, 148 passing yards. Najee Harris, 12 carries for 18 rushing yards, while Roethlisberger had a rushing touchdown in this game. It's pretty interesting there. We'll get to receiving. Deontay Johnson, 5 catches for 38 yards. Pat Freiermuth, 4 for 37. And James Washington, 3 catches for 36 yards. Terry, I'm going to get to you on Pittsburgh. I guess, what are your thoughts on this win?
I mean, this is what happens when you stand up or have a team meeting on team's logo. With that being said, I feel like they got fired up for once. And I mean, the numbers don't really say that much, but I feel like they held them down defensively, this kind of injury depleted Titans offense, and they just got the W. It's not really going to mean that much unless they're trying to make that last minute push for the wild card. But I mean, a win's a win, and this is what you got to do.
Yeah, I think to be fair, both teams have been banged up for most of the year. Obviously, guys like Juju Smith-Schuster out for the season. You have a lot of guys on the defense for Pittsburgh banged up. But yeah, they did really well to get this win. I think even Julio Jones got an injury in this game. He's having a really tough first year in Tennessee. We'll see if he can turn it around. But we'll get to the stats here for the Titans. Ryan Tannehill, 153 passing yards and an interception. In terms of rushing, Deontay Foreman, 22 carries for 108 rushing yards. Dontrell Hilliard, 9 for 49. And Ryan Tannehill at 5 for 18 and a rushing touchdown. Getting to receiving, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, 4 catches, 32 yards. Chester Rogers, 4 for 30. And Deontay Foreman, 2 catches for 27 yards. I guess, Nate, I'll get to you on Tennessee. It's a pretty tough loss for them.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. They ran up against a Steelers team that's really familiar with how to defend against, I guess, teams that are run first, and then they use their pass to mix it up because they have the Browns and the Ravens in their division. So I feel like they do match up with the Titans pretty well. And the Titans don't have Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown, so that definitely doesn't help. But at the same time, they do still have a winning record, and I feel like the game at least was close on paper, although they did get shut down in the second half. So they might need to, I guess, go back to the drawing board and see what works.
Yeah, I guess Titans hopefully can get Julio Jones back. I think they said it was a minor pull on the hamstring, so there's a chance he does play for this coming week's game. And then there's a chance to get A.J. Brown back as well. So they need as many pieces back as possible, as they just really can't afford to lose any more games, as the Colts are sort of biting on their heels for the division. And then moving to the next game, divisional game here, the Miami Dolphins beating the New York Jets 31-24. Getting to the stats for the Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa, 196 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. In terms of rushing, Duke Johnson led this team with 22 carries for 107 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Huge day for him. Myles Gaskin, 10 carries for 54 yards on the ground. And then getting to receiving now, Devontae Parker, 4 catches for 68 yards and a rushing touchdown. Isaiah Ford, 3 catches for 51 yards. And then Mike Gesicki, 5 catches for 43 yards. And then I think Christian Wilkins, 1 catch for 1 yard and a receiving touchdown. I guess, Mete, I'm going to get to you on the Dolphins. Pretty big win for them.
Yeah, they're keeping it rolling. I think that's 5-6 in a row. So they're looking good. And I honestly didn't watch this game, so seeing Duke Johnson's stats is kind of surprising. Looks like he might take over that backfield. Myles Gaskin, he's been okay, but yeah, I guess if Duke Johnson has a performance like that, you definitely might just feed most of the carries to him. So yeah, Dolphins are looking good, and they're trying to make a last-second playoff push. So let's see if they can get it done.
Yeah, they've been playing really solid. And I mean, if the Bills take another loss this coming weekend to the Patriots, I think Dolphins would probably be tied if they get a win. So they have a very excellent chance of trying to get into the playoffs. Obviously, like you said, they might need some help or whatever to get in, as they had a rough start. But yeah, it's definitely possible for this team. We'll get to the Jets now. Zach Wilson, 170 passing yards. In terms of rushing, Tevin Coleman, 8 carries for 50 yards. And then both Zach Wilson and Braxton Berrios had rushing touchdowns. Wilson 4 for 12 and Berrios 2 for 10 rushing yards. And then we'll get to receiving. Jamison Crowder, 5 catches for 40 yards. Ryan Griffin, 2 for 39. And Tyler Kroft, 2 catches for 35 yards. Terry, let me get to you on the Jets. They kept this game pretty close, but they still came away with the loss. I guess, what are your thoughts?
There's not that many thoughts when you're at the bottom of the AFC East division. It's rough because of the fact that, this team has so much promise sometimes. They drafted Zach Wilson out of BYU, and then this is what happens in his first year in, each Rutherford. I always say the Jets are the Jets, but this is becoming like unbearable sometimes. You're hoping for this team to turn it around. The Dolphins look like they were going to be the embarrassment of the AFC East until they started going on the winning streak. The Jets' only positive this year is probably beating Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. And outside of that, I don't know what else to say. Sometimes it's funny, but at this rate, you want to cry for this team. And they did have the Mike White situation, or I forgot what his name was at QB, until whatever happened to him. And then, then we're back at Zach Wilson again. I don't know, address defense in the draft. most likely free agency. Let the offense figure itself out eventually. Everyone's going to have to develop. You got Braxton Berrios, you got, Elijah Moore, and then probably another wide out there that I'm not 1,000% sure who his name is. Probably, God, what's his name? Maybe Austin Walton. Not 1,000% sure if he's.
I think Dave. I think Davis is injured, but yeah, I think he's there.
Yeah, but you get my point. It's like a lot of these young wideouts need to develop, if anything. And I mean, it's just getting tired watching the Jets fail year after year and being at the bottom of the AFCs. But that's all I got to say, man.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with you. Although some people don't really like Zach Wilson, I think he has a lot of talent. He just needs the right situation around him. He can make a lot of throws that some quarterbacks can't make. Like he's really solid. He just needs to be in the right situation. Hopefully they can give that to him in the coming future. We'll move on to the next game. Huge upset win for the Lions. They beat the Cardinals 30-12. I know the Cardinals were out a lot of players in this game, but still really solid from the Lions. Looking at their stats, Jared Goff, 216 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns for him. Really probably his best game of the season. In terms of rushing, Craig Reynolds, Mete, your guy, 26 carries for 112 rushing yards. The coach went right back to him in back-to-back weeks, so really solid game from him. Then in terms of receiving, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 8 catches for 90 yards and a receiving touchdown. Josh Reynolds, 6 catches for 68 yards and a receiving touchdown. And then Khalif Raymond, 2 catches for 20 yards, while Jason Kabinda went into the end zone, 1 catch for 6 yards and that touchdown. Nate, let me get to you on the Lions. I guess, what are your thoughts on this win?
Really impressive win, even though the Cardinals aren't fully healthy. Normally, as long as Kyler Murray is in, basically the Cardinals offense can always go off for at least 20 or more, but the Lions figured out a way to keep them under 20, and they were somehow able to get over to the end zone multiple times. So really impressive win by the Lions.
Yeah, really impressive win. I think this is the first time they've been over 30 points all season, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, really impressive for this Lions team. We'll get to the Cardinals now. Kyler Murray, 257 passing yards, a passing touchdown, and an interception for him. In terms of rushing, Chase Edmonds, 6 carries for 53 yards. James Conner, 8 for 39. Then in terms of receiving, Christian Kirk, 9 catches for 94 yards and a touchdown. Zach Ertz, 6 catches for 74 yards, and AJ Green, 4 catches for 64 yards. I guess, Mete, I'll get to you on the Cardinals. I guess, what are your thoughts on this loss?
It's a pretty embarrassing loss, I won't lie. They're one of the contenders right now, and they just gave the Lions their second win on the year. So I know they're on the road. They're missing their top receiver in DeAndre Hopkins, but still, this is the Lions who previously to this game, they had 1 win. So yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone expected them to get it done. And yeah, it's pretty rough. They give up 30 points and only scored 12. So pretty rough showing for the Cardinals.
Yeah, it has been tough because they've lost back-to-back games now. Green Bay obviously taking the number 1 spot in the NFC now. Yeah, the path to the playoffs is getting tougher for the Cardinals for sure. They should make it, but whether their seed is top or middle, we'll have to see about that. I guess we'll move to the next game. Big win for the Bills. They beat the Carolina Panthers 31-14. We'll get to the stats here for Buffalo. Josh Allen, 210 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns for him and an interception. In terms of rushing, Devin Singletary, 22 carries for 86 yards and a rushing touchdown. And then in terms of receiving, Gabriel Davis, 5 catches, 85 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. Dawson Knox, 4 catches for 38 yards. Cole Beasley, 4 for 35. And Stephon Diggs, 4 catches for 35 yards and a receiving touchdown. Terry, I'm going to get to you on the Bills. I guess, what are your thoughts on this win?
I mean, this is a win you got to capitalize on, especially against this Carolina Panthers team that hasn't been looking good ever since the start of the year. Outside of, I would say, Diggs' mediocre pedestrian like stat line, I mean, the rest of the team helped pave the way. You just said Gabriel Davis, 85 yards with 2 touchdowns, and that helps out the team, especially when your star wideout isn't always producing at that star level you always expect. Cole Beasley also helping with the weight on, I believe, 4 for 35, something like that. Outside of that, I mean, this is another win that you have to capitalize on, especially with a team like, I believe, the Patriots at the top of your division now. And as you said, when it came to the Cardinals, you being the top division, you being at the top of your division can make or break you probably making a streak into the playoffs or not. And the Bills at this rate, if they don't win against the Patriots, it may look like they're going to have one of those wild card spots.
Yeah, for sure. I think to be fair to Stephon Diggs, though, he was shadowed by Stephon Gilmore for most of the game. His only real big catch was that one there in the end zone. But other than that, he was shut down. So, yeah, great showing by Gabriel Davis for sure. And, yeah, the Bills definitely need to keep things rolling. We'll see what they can do against the Patriots this coming week. We'll get to the Panthers now. In terms of passing, Cam Newton, 156 passing yards, a passing touchdown, and an interception. In terms of rushing, Cam Newton led them as well, 15 carries, 71 rushing yards, and a rushing touchdown. It's a good day on the ground for him. Chuba Hubbard, 8 carries for 40 yards, and Robbie Anderson, 2 for 33. Really solid from Anderson there. Getting to receiving, Amir Abdullah, 4 catches for 48 yards and a receiving touchdown. DJ Moore, 6 catches for 48 yards. Robbie Anderson, 3 catches for 29 yards. And Brandon Zylstra, 2 for 17 yards. And Nate, I'll get to you on the Panthers. They've won 2 out of their past 11 games. I guess, what are your thoughts?
Yes, really disappointing tail end of the season for the Panthers. I think the Panthers had a really good start to their season. They had, they had the number 1 offense for a few weeks, but unfortunately, Christian McCaffrey was injured. They ended up getting Cam Newton back, and he had a pretty good first couple of games, but now he hasn't really been playing like how we used to remember Cam Newton on the Panthers. So really not sure why it's turning out this way. So really unfortunate.
Yeah, really unfortunate. They have a lot of injuries, both on offense and defense. Christian McCaffrey is the main one. Yeah, it's just been a rough year. They probably need a new coaching staff next season, in my opinion. Definitely see if that happens for them. I'll move on to the next game. Big win here for the Bengals, 15-10 over the Broncos. 2 teams that they had the same record coming into this game, and Bengals got it done really solid. In terms of passing, Joe Burrow, 157 passing yards and a passing touchdown. In terms of rushing, Joe Mixon, 17 carries for 58 yards. And then in terms of receiving, Tyler Boyd, 5 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown. T. Higgins, 2 for 23, and CJ Uzama, 3 catches for 18 yards. I guess, Terry, let me get to you on the Bengals. I guess, what are your thoughts on your team?
The win, you want to take it where you get it. Doesn't matter if you're the Broncos or the Jets or I guess the Raiders at this rate. You're going to take these wins, especially if you're trying to hold off the Ravens in their, I believe, AFC North title push. With that being said, I mean, who's left on our schedule right now? We have the Chiefs. Well, all right, we can hold that L right there, and then we got to play the Browns, who are, I mean, out of respect for Nathan, I'm not going to say anything bad, but they're looking kind of like a mess, especially since OJP left. So, I mean, we're probably looking like a 9-8 team, something like that. Will it win us the division? Probably not, especially with, I forgot the guy's name on the Ravens, Huntley something. But with that said, I mean, I'm looking forward to, if we're lucky, a wild card spot.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Bengals have played pretty solid for most of the year. They've had some ups and downs, but definitely looking solid. There is still a chance they win their division, which is pretty impressive overall, considering where they were in the standings last season. We'll get to the Broncos now. In terms of passing, Teddy Bridgewater, 98 passing yards. He had a serious injury. Heard he spent the night in the hospital. Really unfortunate for him. And then Drew Lock came in, 88 passing yards and a passing touchdown. So decent day overall. We'll get to rushing now. Javonte Williams, 15 carries for 72 yards. Melvin Gordon, 15 carries for 53 yards. It's insane how they keep their snap counts even at this point. Getting to receiving, Albert O, 3 catches for 58 yards. Noah Fant, 5 for 57. Tim Patrick, 3 catches for 42 yards and a receiving touchdown. Mete, I'll get to you on the Broncos. It's a pretty tough loss.
Yeah, it's a tough loss. And notice how James didn't announce Jerry Judy's stats, as he goes for 0 receptions, 0 yards. And if you had him on your fantasy team like me, in the playoffs especially, that's super disappointing. So yeah, that's tough. The passing game really wasn't there. The running game was pretty much what kept them in this game. I know, like you said, Teddy Bridgewater got hurt, and I definitely like the offense better with him than Drew Lock. So that definitely plays a factor as well. But at least the defense did really good, holding to a team to 15 points, especially a Cincinnati team who's got a nice offense, I think, is pretty impressive. So yeah, it's a tough loss, but there are definitely some positives to take, I think, from this game.
Yeah, definitely some positives in terms of defense for Denver. Definitely some negatives in terms of Teddy Bridgewater being taken out on a stretcher. And yeah, I didn't mention Jerry Jeudy because we don't like burying players on here. So hopefully he can bounce back next game. We'll move on to the next game now. It's the San Francisco 49ers beating the Atlanta Falcons 31-13. A big win here for the 49ers. We'll get to the stats here. For San Francisco, Jimmy Garoppolo, 235 passing yards and a passing touchdown. In terms of rushing, Jeff Wilson, 21 carries, 110 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. Deebo Samuel, 6 carries for 29 yards and a rushing touchdown. And Kyle Juszczyk had 1 carry for 6 yards and a rushing touchdown. Getting to receiving, George Kittle, 6 catches, 93 yards. And then Deebo Samuel had 4 for 60 yards. Brandon Ayuk, 1 catch for 36 yards. And Juwan Jennings had 3 catches for 28 yards and a receiving touchdown. Nate, I'll get to you on the 49ers. I guess, what are your thoughts on this win?
Really impressive win by the 49ers. I know the Falcons, they've been really up and down in terms of their offense, but they do have a pretty deep offense on paper. And I guess normally you wouldn't think of the 49ers as having a good offense, but I mean, they clearly do because they were able to get 30 points.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. The offense and defense is clicking ever since they got healthier. I think the only problem we've had with this 49ers team is they've never been healthy. And as they get healthier, they're just becoming a stronger team. It's really nice to see. We'll get to the Falcons now in terms of their stats. Matt Ryan, 236 passing yards and a passing touchdown for him. Mike Davis, 6 carries for 21 yards. Matt Ryan had 5 for 20 on the ground. And then moving to receiving, Russell Gage, 8 catches, 91 yards and a receiving touchdown. Kyle Pitts, 4 catches for 77 yards. And Olamide Zaccheaus had 2 catches for 57 yards. I guess, Mete, I'll get you on the Falcons. It's a pretty rough loss.
Yeah, and again, notice how James doesn't read Cordell Patterson's stats. Another one of my guys. Terrible week for fantasy for me. Yeah, I really fell in love with him this year. He's dual position eligible for fantasy, wide receiver, running back. He's been getting most of the carries, and he's their best playmaker. So he got stuffed, and the offense had a rough week. But at least Russell Gage, he's been playing really good lately. And yeah, Kyle Pitts, he had a pretty good game too. But outside of that, not many positives. The defense gives up 30 plus points. That's tough. And you only get 13 points. So that's also tough. And yeah, the Falcons, I guess they've had a decent season. I won't lie. 6-8. I probably wouldn't be expecting that record from them at this point, at the start of the season.
Yeah, for sure. They have won a lot of games. Like they've beaten teams below them, which is something you have to do. You got to win the easy games, and then the tougher ones. Obviously, they haven't done a good job of that. But yeah, pretty solid. And yeah, I didn't want to mention Patterson's yards per carry because it wasn't very good in this game. Definitely don't want to be burying guys like that. All right, moving on to the next game, we have the Green Bay Packers beating the Baltimore Ravens 31-30. A really tight game overall. We'll get to the stats for the Packers. Aaron Rodgers, 268 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns. In terms of rushing, Aaron Jones, 13 carries for 58 rushing yards. And then A.J. Dillon, 7 carries for 22 yards and a rushing touchdown. Getting to receiving, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 5 catches, 98 yards and a touchdown. Devontae Adams, 6 catches for 44 yards and a touchdown. Mercedes Lewis, 3 catches for 40 yards. Then Aaron Jones, 2 catches for 12 yards and a receiving touchdown. Terry, let me get to you on the Packers. I guess, what are your thoughts on this clutch win?
Good for them to win. I mean, as a Bengals fan, I was hoping for them to win, especially since the Ravens now have the same exact record as us. Not that much else to say because I don't really watch the Packers as much. I mean, bravo for them.
Yeah, I mean, top of the NFC. They're just pretty much rolling, just like last year at this point. Hopefully they can get a deeper run in the playoffs this time. We'll get to the Ravens now. Looking at their stats, Tyler Huntley started at quarterback. He had 215 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns. In terms of rushing, Huntley led them with 13 carries for 73 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. And Latavius Murray had 7 carries for 48 yards. And then in terms of receiving, Mark Andrews, 10 catches, 136 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. Marquise Brown, 10 catches for 43 yards. Devin Duvernay, 3 for 13 yards. And I guess, Nate, what are your thoughts on this Ravens team?
I guess the Ravens are another example of why you should trust your tight ends with more targets, because Mark Andrews was putting in a lot of work for the receiving ends. 136 yards is really impressive, especially for tight ends, because normally only wide receivers really get that many targets, but Mark Andrews is one of the best tight ends in the league. So if you have a really good tight end, you can go toe-to-toe even with teams like Green Bay.
Yeah, for sure. They almost won this game too. There at the end, they went, I guess, for 2 instead of tying it, and we know how that turned out. So I guess Packers, they could have still gone down to get a field goal, I guess, if they did tie it. But either way, Packers still got the win over the Ravens. We'll move on to the next game. Taking a look at the next score here. It was the Sunday night game, actually. A really tight game, low scoring. Saints beating the Bucs 9-0. Really surprising result from this, I guess, offensive juggernaut in the Buccaneers. But we'll get to the Saints first. Taysom Hill, 154 passing yards. And then in terms of rushing, he led the team on 11 carries for 33 rushing yards. And then in terms of receiving, Marquez Callaway, 6 catches for 112 receiving yards. And there really wasn't much else here. I think this game, it was won by just like 3 field goals. It was just really low scoring. I guess, Mete, I'll get to you on the Saints. What are your thoughts on this win?
Yeah, this is a huge upset. They sweep the Buccaneers this year, and we were joking about how the Saints have Brady's number, but I guess it's not a joke anymore, as they're definitely they know how to play against him. Shutting out the Buccaneers, that's definitely not an easy task. And for the Cowboys' point of view, this is a huge win, as the Buccaneers and Cardinals lost, allowing the Cowboys to get the 2nd seed. So, Cowboys are getting some help. And I guess going forward, the Saints, they look great. They could make the playoffs. Next season, I'd like to see them get like a better quarterback, better tight end. And I think they could be a contender for sure.
Yeah, I mean, really big win. I think they swept the Bucs in back-to-back years, aside from that playoff game. So Saints really do match up well against the Bucs. We'll get to the Bucs now. A lot of injuries happened in this game, but we'll get to the stats. Tom Brady, 214 passing yards and an interception. And then in terms of rushing, Ronald Jones, 8 carries for 63 yards. Leonard Fournette, 9 carries for 34 yards. I believe he got injured in this game. In terms of receiving, Chris Godwin, 6 catches for 49 receiving yards. I think he also got injured. He might be out for the season. Tyler Johnson, 4 catches for 41 yards. Leonard Fournette, 7 catches for 33 yards. And I guess getting to you, Terry, what are your thoughts on the Bucs?
First off, let me just say this one thing for the Saints. Whoever's paying for Brett Maynard's dinner for the rest of the week, I appreciate you. Second off, it's going to be rough for Brady and company for the next, I don't know, let's say until the playoffs, because that's when the projected time for, I believe, Chris Godwin can return. Outside of that, it is rough losing Leonard Fournette, as well as the fact that you're now down to, I believe, Ronald Jones, Keyshawn Vaughn, and then probably Le'Veon Bell, that we'll talk about probably later in the preview. With that said, Antonio Brown does come back from suspension, I believe. Not 1,000% sure, but hopefully he'll help this depleted offense of the Bucs get through until playoff time.
Yeah, it is going to be tough. It's going to be tough for them to try and go back to back this year because they were fortunately very healthy in the playoffs last season. It's going to be tough for that to happen again. And yeah, I definitely agree with you. A lot of next man up situations now for the Bucs. We'll get to the Monday night game. Actually, there was more than one Monday night game. We'll start with the Raiders beating the Browns 16-14. I guess we'll just get to the stats here for the Raiders. Derek Carr, 236 passing yards, a passing touchdown and an interception. Josh Jacobs, 15 carries on the ground for 52 rushing yards. And then in terms of receiving, Zay Jones, 6 catches, 67 yards. Foster Moreau, 7 for 65. Josh Jacobs, 3 for 42. And Hunter Renfrow, 3 catches for 32 yards, while Brian Edwards had 3 catches for 8 yards and a receiving touchdown. I guess, Mete, I'll get to you on the Raiders. I guess, what are your thoughts on this win?
Honestly, it's not that impressive. They got out to a nice 10-0 lead, and I thought they could run away with it, but second half was really tough for them. But Derek Carr and the offense, they came up clutch at the end at least. They drove down to kick a field goal and win the game. So they got the job done, but again, I wasn't too impressed. The run game wasn't really working that well. And yeah, at least their defense played solid, as their defense isn't the greatest. So it's a decent win, but I feel like it could have been a much better showing for the Raiders.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, this Browns team was a little depleted. I mean, they still squeezed out the win. I will give them that. We'll move to the Browns now. Nick Mullins was at quarterback. He threw 147 yards and a passing touchdown. In terms of rushing, Nick Chubb, 23 carries, 91 yards and a rushing touchdown. Then for receiving, Donovan Peoples-Jones, 4 catches for 48 yards. David Njoku, 3 catches for 29 yards. And Rashard Higgins, 3 catches for 24 yards, while Harrison Bryant had 2 catches for 11 yards and a receiving touchdown. I guess, Nate, getting 2 on the Browns, I guess, what are your thoughts on your team?
Really rough week. Speaking of next man up, no Baker Mayfield, no Case Keenum, no Kareem Hunt either, or Jarvis Landry. So they just had to work with who they had, and it was really close. This would have been a much needed win for the Browns, but unfortunately they weren't able to overcome the big deficit that they had in the first half, and the Raiders were able to, put the final nail in the coffin with the 6 points in the fourth quarter. So I feel like the next few weeks for the Browns are going to be, can the defense keep them in the game to try to win? And it's going to be really tough going forward considering who they have on the schedule.
I was going to say, to win the division, they're probably going to have to win out at this point. To make the playoffs, probably a similar situation to that. So it is really tough for the Browns right now. Hopefully we can get things back on track next week. Moving to the next game here, the second Monday night game, the Vikings beating the Bears 17-9. I guess just looking at the stats here for the Vikings, Kirk Cousins, only 87 passing yards, but he had 2 passing touchdowns and an interception. In terms of rushing, Dalvin Cook, 28 carries for 89 rushing yards. Then through the air, Justin Jefferson, 4 catches for 47 yards and a touchdown. KJ Osborne, 3 for 21. And Amir Smith Marset had 1 catch for 7 yards and a receiving touchdown. Terry, I'll get to on the Vikings. I guess a win's a win.
Yeah, win's a win. You're probably fighting for a wild card spot at this rate because, I mean, the Rams have that first wild card spot on lock, and then you got the Eagles at 7-7. And I believe the Saints are at 7-7 as well. Yeah, 7-7 against that Bucs. Well, at that Bucs win. I believe I'm not 1,000% sure who has the tiebreaker between all these three teams. So just trying to win as much of these games so we don't have to rely on the tiebreaker. I believe they play the Packers on the 2nd of January, which is kind of going to decide the fate for them. And then they also played the Rams before that on, I believe, Boxing Day. So good luck to them against that defense. And then they close out their, I believe, season against the Bears again. So hopefully they can win 2 of 3 and they can see themselves in playoff spot.
Yeah, honestly, you get divisional wins like this. It always helps with that tiebreaker stuff. So, yeah, good win for the Vikings. Getting to the Bears now, Justin Fields, 285 passing yards and a passing touchdown. He also had 7 carries on the ground for 35 yards. So a good game for Fields. David Montgomery, 18 carries for 60 yards. And then in terms of receiving, Cole Kmet, 6 catches for 71 yards. Darnell Mooney, 5 for 63. And Demir Bird had 5 catches for 62 yards, while Jesper Horsted had 1 for 19 and a receiving touchdown. I guess, Nate, I'll bounce to you next. I guess, what are your thoughts on the Bears?
I feel like the Bears, they've been starting to improve. I know they didn't win, but the Vikings are a pretty good, I guess, team. And score wasn't really ideal, but they were able to get downfield. So now they just have to figure out how to get into the end zone more often.
Yeah, if they hadn't found the end zone there late in the game, I don't think they would have for pretty much the game. So at least they were able to get it there. And yeah, Bears, it's been a rough year for them. Hopefully with a young quarterback like Fields, they can sort of turn things around for next season. We'll get to the next game. There were 2 games on Tuesday. The first one, the LA Rams beating the Seattle Seahawks 20-10. Looking at the stats for the Rams, Matthew Stafford, 244 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and an interception. In terms of rushing, Sony Michel, 18 carries for 92 yards. Darrell Henderson, 6 carries for 23 yards. Then through the air, Cooper Kupp, 9 catches, 136 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. It's insane how he does this every week. Ben Skowronek had 4 catches for 42 yards. Sony Michel had 2 for 23, as well as Van Jefferson, who had 2 for 23. Mete, I'm going to bounce to you on the Rams. I guess it's a pretty big divisional win for them.
Yeah, it's a nice win. Back-to-back divisional wins for the Rams. And this is the first season the Seahawks will have a losing record with Russell Wilson. So that's pretty crazy to think about. And I know COVID sucks, but honestly, one positive we get from it is last couple of years, we've had Tuesday night games. We had a Wednesday night game last year. So yeah, it's pretty cool to have football on days we usually don't. But outside of that, obviously COVID is horrible. But let's get back to football here. The Rams, they have a legit shot of winning the division now. The Cardinals were off to a great start, but they're kind of slumping lately, and the Rams are catching fire when they need to. So yeah, they could go from wild card to a top 4 seed. So let's see how things turn out at the end of this season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Tuesday and Wednesday night games are great as fans, but I guess the players, they hate it because short week and all that. But definitely tough for the Seahawks, tough for the Seahawks this year, and really solid for the Rams in this game. I'll get to the Seahawks now. Russell Wilson, 156 passing yards and an interception. In terms of rushing, DJ Dallas, 8 carries for 41 yards and a rushing touchdown. Rashad Penny, 11th for 39. Then in terms of receiving, Gerald Everett, 4 catches for 60 yards. DK Metcalf, 6 catches for 52 yards, and really not much else there. I guess, Terry, I'll bounce to you. This is a rough game for the Seahawks. A lot of players out, I guess. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it is rough. I mean, with guys like Chris Carson out, I believe, for the season, not 1,000% sure about that. Tyler Lockett's out. Russell Wilson's playing with a banged up. I don't know what at this rate, whether it be hand, wrist, thigh, I don't know. It's just not their year. You got teams that are passing them when it comes to becoming more of a complete team. 49ers are getting healthy day by day, week by week. Then you got the Cardinals picking up everyone they could have found last year in free agency, and then the Rams just spent another first, second, and third rounder on another key defensive player in Von Miller. As I said, it's not their year. Some things don't go their way. Injuries is the unfair advantage or the unfair play this time around. Just do what you can, find out who's going to be getting reps, whether it be rookies or practice squad guys in the next 2 to 3 games, and regroup in the offseason.
Yeah, for sure. It has been a rough ride for the Seahawks team. Definitely going to have some changes coming in the offseason for sure. Moving to the last game on the slate, the Philadelphia Eagles beating the Washington football team 27-17. Solid win for the Eagles as they're trying to gain ground there. Division might be out of reach, but for a playoff spot for sure. In terms of passing, Jalen Hurts, 296 passing yards and a passing touchdown with an interception. In terms of rushing, Miles Sanders, 18 carries for 131 rushing yards. Jalen Hurts had 8 carries for 38 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Jordan Howard, 15 carries for 69 yards. In terms of receiving, Dallas Goedert, 7 catches, 135 yards. Jalen Reagor, 3 for 57. Devontae Smith, 3 for 40. And Greg Ward, 2 catches, 28 yards and a receiving touchdown. Nate, I'll get to you on the Eagles. I guess, what are your thoughts on the win?
Yes, this was a much-needed win by the Eagles, and they had a pretty solid game. Yes, they were able to score consistently in every quarter against Washington defense that hasn't really been the same, but I feel like they started to pick it up a little bit by the end of the season. So I feel like this was a decent win.
Yeah, for sure. You're right. They have been picking it up. Whether it's Minshew or Hurts, they've been getting wins. So yeah, good on the Eagles there. Get to Washington now. Garrett Gilbert played quarterback there. Mete knows him pretty well. He had 194 passing yards. In terms of rushing, Antonio Gibson, 15 carries for 26 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. Jarrett Patterson, 4 for 20 and a rushing touchdown. And then through the air, Terry McLaurin, 2 catches, 51 yards. Antonio Gibson, 6 catches for 39 yards. Ricky Seals-Jones, 4 for 29. And John Bates had 1 catch for 29 yards. Mete, I'll bounce to you. I guess, what are your thoughts on Washington?
Yeah, they kind of got unlucky in the sense that no Taylor Heineke, and then their backup, they lose as well, Kyle Allen. So like you said, they're down to their third string, Garrett Gilbert, and honestly, he didn't do too bad, I think. He had a solid completion percentage. The yards weren't great. He didn't have a touchdown, but he didn't turn the ball over. So I don't think he was the problem. The run game was really tough. Antonio Gibson only averaging 1.7 yards per carry. That's not going to cut it. Patterson, he did a bit better, 5 yards a carry, but he only got 4 carries. So yeah, when you're down to your third string quarterback, you got to help him out with the running game. And if you can't, they're just gonna focus on the throwing offense, and yeah, you see what happens. So it's tough for them, and we'll see how they do next week against the Cowboys.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is one of the best games we've seen the Eagles play all year. They really came out to play. Obviously, Washington was banged up. And yeah, we'll definitely have to see how they do next week. That's going to be the end of Week 15's recap. So we're going to move into the fantasy football pickups. I guess, Mete, I'll just get right back to you. I guess, who's your running back pickup for the week?
Yeah, so I won't lie to you guys. I didn't see a lot of running backs I liked, and except one guy, but you guys picked him. So I just went with Rex Burkhead. He's only 10% owned, and he's playing for the Houston Texans. He doesn't put up the greatest numbers, but he's guaranteed touches. So yeah, under the 50% mark, I only saw one guy who's pretty much guaranteed touches. And outside of him, it was Rex Burkhead. So I decided to go for Burkhead.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if he's catching passes like he normally does, definitely a guy that can get you, a decent day in fantasy. I guess for me, I have Ronald Jones, running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We saw Leonard Fournette get injured. He hasn't been practicing as of right now, so I'm not sure what his status is. There's a chance Ronald Jones walks into a minimum of 12 to 15 touches. and red zone opportunities as well. So definitely a guy you should be going to pick up, especially if you're a Leonard Fournette owner and in a tough fantasy playoff matchup. Definitely a guy you want to have on your roster. Terry, I'll bounce to you. Who's your running back pickup for the week?
I was going to say Duke Johnson until I heard the news that the head coach was going to say it's every running back for himself. And then I was like, all right, there's no point in doing that. Let me go with the guy that's backing up pound for pound Austin Eckler. And that's Justin Jackson. He's only available in 8% of, or he is available in 92% of leagues as of today. And he's playing against the Houston Texans defense. With that said, I feel like he might be a running back 1, maybe a running back 2. Might be bold, but hey, if pound for pound can do it, I feel like a guy that's at least a little bit bigger than him can definitely do it, especially that's not getting worked a lot this season.
Yeah, definitely monitor Eckler's status. If Eckler doesn't play, Jackson could walk into a boatload of carries there. Nate, I'll get to you. Who's your running back pickup for the week?
I guess for the week, I know Dearness Johnson didn't have the best week last week, but I'm still, I guess, going to go to him mainly because Kareem Hunt is still out. So they're going to need someone to do the catching back stuff. So it looks like they're asking Dearness Johnson to do that still. So as long as I guess they need to lean to the pass for running back, I feel like Dearness Johnson might be a good pick for that.
Yeah, for sure. Cleveland's been banged up most of the year at this point. Definitely depth guys you can get there. You have a chance to get yards and touchdowns off of them for sure. I guess Mete, I'll move to you for wide receivers. I guess who do you have for the week?
Yeah, for wide receivers, I went with Josh Reynolds, another guy who's only sitting at 10%. So he should be available in almost all the leagues. And he plays for the Detroit Lions. So I think a couple of weeks ago, I've been advising people to pick him up. And yeah, I'm going back to him. He's looked great with the Lions. Like I said last time, he's got chemistry with Jared Goff from their Los Angeles Rams days. So yeah, Goff likes him. He gives him targets. They've got chemistry. Why not, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I guess, Terry, I'll move to you now. Who's your wide receiver pickup for the week?
My wideout pickup for the week is Ramon St. Brown of the Detroit Lions. He's only 32% owned. I would have said Russell Gage, but he's over 50% owned, and he's probably going to be picked up this week. If you can't find Gage, I feel like going with St. Brown will be perfect. I mean, for the past 3 weeks, he's been targeted probably 11, 12 times across weeks 15 to 13. So, hey, if he's getting the targets in the offense, you might as well target him as a possible flex candidate on your roster for waiver wire week.
All right. And I guess for my wide receiver pickup of the week, I have Gabriel Davis from the Buffalo Bills. He's caught touchdowns in 3 straight games. I think he's the wide receiver 2 on this team at the moment behind Stephon Diggs. Cole Beasley, I think, got on the COVID-19 list. It looks like Emmanuel Sanders might not play again this week. And I mean, they're facing the Patriots. It looks like JC Jackson will be shadowing Stephon Diggs. So, I mean, this could be 4 straight games that Davis finds the end zone. So this is a time to plug him into your lineup. Flex spot, maybe wide receiver 3, something like that. Plug him in and he shouldn't disappoint. Allen should be targeting him a lot this week. He's only around 20% rostered in Yahoo League, so he's widely available. Go add him up. He's a good player. Nate, I'll get to you for your wide receiver pickups for the week.
I guess for wide receivers, I was looking more into, Jets players mainly because they're facing the Jaguars, and the Jaguars don't really have the best defense. So I was thinking of either Jamison Crowder because he's been getting the most targets, or maybe Braxton Berrios if Jamison Crowder ends up not playing because Crowder is questionable. So I feel like either one of those players are probably going to get more targets, and they might get more completions, possibly some touchdowns against the Jaguars.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a good matchup to capitalize on in the fantasy playoffs, especially if you're in a deep league. I guess for my quarterback pickup for the week as we move there, I have Justin Fields. And the reason I have him is because he's been really solid in his past few games here ever since he came back from that injury. he's just played really solid. I mean, I feel like the Seahawks team is a team that you can take advantage of in terms of offense. And yeah, I fully expect him to, pass the ball. He's thrown over 220 passing yards in his past 2 games. He's thrown at least a passing touchdown in both of those games, and he's rushed on the ground. So he's got that rushing floor there for you. He's more of those safe options. Like if you have a good team, you don't have a great quarterback, you're in a tough playoff matchup, and you want a quarterback that'll get you a decent floor, you can definitely look at Justin Fields, especially like super flex leagues, 2 quarterback leagues. It's really solid. Definitely go add him up. And I guess, Nate, I'll bounce to you for quarterbacks. Who do you have?
I guess you could maybe take a look at either Jimmy G or Ben Roethlisberger. In terms of matchups, I feel like maybe Jimmy G might be able to do something considering Tennessee doesn't have the best pass defense, so he might end up getting, I guess, an unexpected amount of points if you pick him up. And I guess Ben Roethlisberger is kind of in a similar position, but I guess it's hard to say exactly because Kansas City is Kansas City, but they've been giving up a lot of points and trying to rely on outgunning other teams. So as long as they're doing that, you might be able to pick up Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, at this point, Seahawks are up and down when it comes to points. I know they faced a good Chargers team. Maybe that's why they gave up some points. I know Chargers definitely left a lot of points on the table, so there might be room to exploit them there. I guess we'll move to tight end. Now, Mete, I'll get to you. Who's your tight end for the week?
Yeah, speaking of the Seahawks, I've got Gerald Everett, 38% owned. So he might not be there, but there's a chance. And yeah, like I said, he's on the Seattle Seahawks. He led the team in receptions and possibly receiving yards a couple days ago. So yeah, I like the fact that Russell Wilson, ever since he came back, he's been targeting Gerald Everett a lot. This is another guy I advised a couple weeks ago. I said the same thing. It just seems like Russell Wilson really trusts him. So yeah, I like the fact that he gets the targets. He's got a good quarterback throwing to him. So yeah, I think he's a great pickup.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely agree with you. He's been getting the targets. That's one thing you got to look for when you're looking to pick up tight end. So definitely go take a look at him. Terry, I'll bounce to you. Who's your tight end for the week?
One guy I got in mind's got to be Cole Kmet. I mean, ever since Justin Fields came back from his injury, it's either the Darnell Mooney show, as James would know, or it would be the Cole Kmet show. I mean, this past week, he had 9 targets, 6 receptions, 71 yards. Unfortunately, he didn't get the touchdown, but hey, you can't always get everything you want. I mean, with that said, if he does get a touchdown, that's probably, I want to say tight end 1 type of week. But hey, it's tight end, so you take what you can get. You know what I mean? He's only 25% owned. Outside of that, I mean, you could target a Ricky Seals-Jones. You're trying to find lightning in the bottle, but outside of that, that's all I got for you, man.
All right, and Nate, I'll bounce to you. Who's your tight end pickup for the week?
I guess I was gonna go with Austin Hooper mainly because the Browns, they need to, I guess, pass a little bit more against the Packers. So I'm hoping that someone on tight ends will get some more targets. Normally, I guess David Njoku's more of the tight end that gets catches, but he is questionable. So I'm thinking if Austin Hooper is healthier, they might end up giving him the targets. And I think the last time he ended up getting 6 targets against Baltimore, he ended up having 11 fantasy points. I don't know if he's going to get 11 again, but I feel like he should be able to do something.
All right. And yeah, that's a good pickup there. And it'll bring us to the end of our pickups for the week. So we'll move right into the preview now. We're going to start with the Thursday game, San Francisco versus Tennessee. Mete, I'll let you preview that one.
All right, so for San Francisco in standard leagues, I'd go for Deebo Samuel, Jeffrey Wilson. Elijah Mitchell is out, so looks like he'll get his usual role of starting running back when Elijah Mitchell's not there, and then George Kittle. And then deeper leagues, you could look at Jimmy Garoppolo. He's been playing pretty good lately, and then Brandon Ayuk if you're desperate at wide receiver. for the Tennessee Titans in standard leagues. Dante Foreman, he's been playing great. AJ Brown, I'm hearing he's got a good chance to play tomorrow. So you definitely got to play him. And then deeper leagues, if you're desperate at quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, he's had a rough year. Nick Westbrook, if you're desperate, and Chester Rogers as well, if you're desperate for a wide receiver.
Yeah, I heard there's a chance Julio Jones even suits up, so it must not have been a serious injury. So you could probably roll him out, probably only in deep leagues at this point. Yeah, let's just move right into the matchup now. It looks like the 49ers are favored by 3 points in Tennessee. Mete, I'll start with you. I guess which side do you like here?
Kind of like Tennessee, like you said, this game is in Tennessee, and yeah, like AJ Brown and Julio Jones might be back. So yeah, they're given the points. I like the Titans here.
All right, Terry, I'll move to you. I guess which side do you like here?
Really a gambling man when it comes to football, but I mean, it's my say this
49ers are favored by 3.
by 3.
Yeah.
I might have to take the 49ers on that. I mean, Titans offense is kind of looking putrid. Outside of that, go Niners gang.
All right, Nate, I'll bounce to you. I guess which side do you like here?
I feel like the factor is mainly going to be run instead of pass because even if AJ Brown does come back, San Francisco does have a pretty decent pass defense. So I feel like it's going to come down to can the Titans get down the fields with their run. So I feel like I'd still take the 49ers though.
Yeah, honestly, I think it depends for me whether Julio and AJ Brown are back. I would definitely open things up as the 49ers. They will probably be able to stop anything the Titans bring their way in terms of rushing. Right now, I am leaning the 49ers as well. I definitely think they can get this win. They've been on fire lately. I just expect them to keep rolling. And we'll move to the first Saturday game. It's the Green Bay Packers against the Cleveland Browns. Nate, I'll get to you for fantasy.
So I guess for Green Bay, you can take a look at Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, and then maybe in deep leagues, AJ Dillon, Alan Lazard. I guess I have to put Marquez Valdes-Scantling because he went off for 20, and assuming you had him on the bench because you didn't think he was gonna do well, you were probably kicking yourself. So you're basically trying to time will Marquez Valdes-Scantling get enough targets, and if you feel confident about that, then I guess why not start him? And then I guess for the Browns, maybe you can take a look at Nick Chubb, Dearness Johnson, maybe Donovan Peoples-Jones, David Njoku, and I guess Austin Hooper.
Yeah, probably only start MVS if you're desperate because the goose egg game is probably coming soon. So just be aware of that. I've definitely had that happen to me before with him. And we'll get to the spread here. It's 7.5 in favor of the Packers at home. I guess, Nate, which side are you on here?
It's really tough for me to say that the Browns can cover this because the Browns are looking depleted on offense and on defense as well. I think Clowney is out, Garrett's questionable. So, and I think Newsom's out as well. So it's going to be really tough for the Browns to contain the Packers, and the Browns are going to have to play the offensive game of their lives in order to cover this. So in my heart, I want to say pick the Browns, but my head's telling me go with the Packers.
All right. I guess, Mete, I'll get to you. I guess which side do you like here?
I like the Browns if Baker Mayfield can play. They've been playing in a lot of close games recently. The defense is playing great. So, yeah, I think if Baker Mayfield is in, I think they could cover this.
All right, Terry, bouncing to you. Packers favored by 7.5. Which side do you like?
Trying to be the nicest Bengals fan as I can for Nathan right now, and I'll say Packers next question.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to side with you as well. I think that Aaron Rodgers is slowly creeping into that MVP conversation, and the Packers have just been rolling. And I mean, Browns going into Lambeau banged up. Like, this is not a good situation for them. Packers are the best team against the spread this season. I think I'm just going to keep going with them. Moving on to the next game, another Saturday night game. That's the Indianapolis Colts against the Arizona Cardinals. I guess I'll preview that game. In terms of the Cardinals, you can probably roll out Kyler Murray, James Conner if he plays. If not, roll out Chase Edmonds. He should start in his place. You can roll out Christian Kirk. He's been getting a lot of targets. AJ Green, since Hopkins is probably going to be out, and Zach Ertz got a lot of targets for the past couple of weeks, so you can roll him out as well. And a deep league guy would probably be like Rondale Moore. And then for the Colts, you're starting Jonathan Taylor, and you're probably starting Mike Pittman. He did have a rough game, but it was against the Patriots, obviously. JC Jackson shadowing, obviously. So I think that you could probably look his way this week. And then deep league guys would be like Carson Wentz, Nyheim Hines, T.Y. Hilton, Jack Doyle, Zach Pascal, and Mo Ali Cox. So we'll get to the spread now. Looks like the Cardinals are favored by 1 at home. Mete, I'll get to you. Which side do you like?
This is a good question. I'm expecting a close game, but 1 is like the smallest spread you can have. So the Cardinals are home. I think I'll go with the Cardinals.
All right, Terry, getting to you. Which side do you like here?
When you said the spread for this game was 1, I thought you were joking, but I mean the Cardinals are 10-4. You got to go with these guys. They're hot right now. You got Kyler Murray at QB, old school AJ Green, Zach Ertz. I mean, this is an offensively not challenged, but elite team. So you got to go with the offensively elite team.
And Nate, I'll move to you. Which side do you like here?
The Colts are pretty hot, but they're not the best against the pass. And the Cardinals have an amazing quarterback in Kyler Murray, and they have a pretty solid, I guess, wide receiver lineup. And they have to bounce back after losing to the Lions. So I'm going with Cardinals.
Yeah, I guess looking at this game, I'm probably the only one who likes the Colts here. I think that they definitely can continue their winning ways. I think there were teams that were favored, like the Bills were favored by 7 against them. Like different teams favored by like big numbers, and the Colts actually won outright. They didn't just cover, they won outright. I think maybe this is the time they can capitalize on a banged up Cardinals team. It's going to be tougher since Cardinals are at home, but I think there is a chance the Colts can get it done. So I'm going to go with them. All right, moving on to the next game. We got Baltimore versus Cincinnati. I guess, Terry, I'll get to you on this one.
All right, so y'all really changed it up from a year ago. So let me see if I got this right. If I'm starting anyone in standard league, I'm starting Lamar Jackson or Tyler Huntley in standard leagues as a high quarterback 1 or a high quarterback 2. Devontae Freeman, running back 2, if anything. Hollywood Brown, running back 2. Rashad Bateman, I'll run at flex. Mark Andrews, tight end 1. Sits and deep league starts would probably be Latavius Murray, Devin Duvernay, and whoever else I didn't just mention. Cincinnati now. Joe Burrow, most likely a high quarterback 2. Joe Mixon, if he does start, is going to be a running back 1 automatically. Jamar Chase, I was going to say running back. Wide out 1. T. Higgins, wide out 2. Tyler Boyd, flex option. And deep league starts would be CJ Zome at tight end. Samaje Perine at running back. And don't even pay attention to anyone outside of those 3 at wide out when it comes to deep league starts and sits. That's all I got.
All right, and we'll just move right into the spread now. Bengals are favored by 3. Terry, do you think they can pull it off?
I mean, true fan in me says yes, but this all depends on Lamar Jackson. If he's healthy, go with Ravens no matter what. But if Huntley's in it, I would say go with the Bengals. So this all falls on the former MVP's availability. So
all right, and yeah, go ahead.
Let's say he's out. Hopefully, I would go with Bengals.
All right, so I guess I'll let you say the Bengals at this point since we don't know his status. And then Nate, I'll get to you. I guess, which side are you on?
It's really hard to say because both teams have been pretty solid. I feel like the Bengals have pretty good offense. The only thing is, will they be able to stop the pass? Because I know Lamar Jackson's really underrated in terms of his passing game, but at the same time, he is a good passer, and I guess he has some really good, I guess, receivers. He has Mark Andrews as well, and the Bengals don't have the best pass defense. Might be close. So yeah, I guess I'll just go with the Bengals. Why not?
All right, and I guess Mete, moving to you, I guess which side are you on?
Yeah, I just checked the reports. As of today, Lamar is not practicing. And the Bengals, they've got the best divisional record in the division. They're at home. It all points towards a Bengals win. So yeah, I'm going with the Bengals. Who they?
All right. All right. And yeah, I guess looking at this game for me, I think the Ravens last couple games they haven't had Lamar Jackson, but they've been able to keep the spread under 3. So I mean, I guess at that pace, I expect them to be able to cover here. I mean, they could even lose by 1 point again. They could lose by 2 points again. But yeah, I think I like the Ravens to cover here. Moving on to the next game, LA Chargers against Houston Texans. Matt, I'll get you that one for fantasy.
All right, so for the Chargers standard leagues, you're going for Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler if he can clear the protocols. If not, someone had Justin Jackson as the pickup of the week. So yeah, you could run Justin Jackson for sure. Keenan Allen, of course, and then Mike Williams having a great year. Deeper leagues, Jared Cook if you're desperate for a tight end. Houston, standard league, only guy I'm trusting is Brandon Cooks. He's been the only reliable player in that offense. And then deeper leagues, if you're really desperate, Davis Mills is looking better. And then Rex Burkhead was my pickup of the week. So yeah, if you're desperate and you're in a deep league for a running back, you could definitely take a look at him.
All right. And I guess we'll get to the spread for this game. It looks like the Chargers are favored by 10 points. Mete, I'll get to you. Which side do you like?
10 points is kind of scaring me. The Texans, they're not looking too bad under Davis Mills lately, and they're at home. So yeah, let's just go with the Texans. Why not?
All right. And Terry, I'll bounce to you. I guess which side do you like here?
I'm gonna go with the Chargers, but now that I hear it's 10, I don't know about it, man. Like that's the only part that scares me, as Mete was saying. But it's a Texan squad we're talking about. I feel like they can cover that, so let's go Chargers here.
All right, Nate, I'll bounce to you. I guess which side do you like here?
I mean, the Chargers are deeper on paper, and on paper they have better players. So I guess I'll go with the Chargers.
Yeah, I guess for me, all I can say is if the Chargers want to keep going for it on 4th down, this is a team they'll be able to get it on. So I feel like they could pretty much blow up the score because I know Kansas City, they can stop the run, they can stop the pass. The Texans, not really at this point. So yeah, give me the Chargers as well. Moving to the next game, Detroit against Atlanta. Nate, I'll get you on that one for fantasy.
So for Detroit, I guess you can take a look at maybe Craig Reynolds because he's been getting the start so far for a running back. And then in deep leagues, maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown, Josh Reynolds, Khalif Raymond. DeAndre Swift, normally you'd be able to start him, but he's been questionable so far, and there's a chance he might not be playing. So yeah, you might not be able to start him this week. And for Atlanta, you can take a look at Cordarrelle Patterson, Russell Gage, Kyle Pitts, and in deep leagues, maybe Mike Davis and Hayden Hurst.
All right, we'll get to the spread now. Looks like the Falcons are favored by 5.5. I guess Nate, getting to you, which side are you on?
It's kind of a toss-up because we just saw the Lions pull off an upset that shouldn't have happened. And the Falcons don't really have the best defense. So they could end up giving away yards that they're not supposed to give up or touchdowns that they're not supposed to give up as well. And it's 5.5. So if it ends up being like 5 or something, the Lions will like barely cover that. So I guess I'll just be different and go with the Lions.
All right, and Mete, I'll get to you. Which side are you on here?
Nate, I'm sorry, you're not gonna be different as I really like the Lions here. They've been looking much better lately outside of the last week's performance against the Broncos, which they had the emotions and motivation going for them. I think the Lions are playing much better, and yeah, for those reasons, I like the Lions. They're the underdogs. I think they can cover.
All right, Terry, bouncing to you. I guess which side do you like here?
I'm missing something here because both of y'all are taking the Lions right now. I mean, it's 5.5. It's the Falcons. I mean, I don't know. Like, uh, now y'all got me thinking about the Lions now, man. Boy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm I might be on the same side as you, Terry, just because I feel like the Lions, they'd have to probably win outright to cover this. They're not normally known for winning like close games, like especially as we saw last week, it was a blowout. The Falcons aren't as bad as we think they are. I think we're kind of underrating the Falcons right now. And always with the Lions, there's always that letdown game after the big win. So I think, Terry, yeah, I'm going to agree with you and go with the Falcons as well. We'll move to the next game now. It's Buffalo against New England. I'll preview that for fantasy. For the Bills, you're starting guys like Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Dawson Knox, and I would roll out Gabriel Davis as well. And then for deep league, if Emmanuel Sanders plays, you could roll him out. Devin Singletary and Zach Moss are also deep league plays if Moss plays. And then getting to the Patriots, Damian Harris, if he plays, if not, Ramondre Stevenson is going to be the starter, so you can roll him out. Obviously, he had a big day against them last time, so any running back against the Bills at this point, just roll them out. And Hunter Henry has looked really solid. You can probably roll him out at tight end. And Jacoby Myers in PPR leagues, he gets a lot of catches. You can probably roll him out as well. Deep league guys would be like Mac Jones, Kendrick Bourne, Jonnu Smith, and Brandon Bolden. And I don't know if Nelson Aguilar is going to play. If he is, maybe in a deep league. We'll get to the spread now for this game. It looks like the Patriots are favored this time around, being at home at 2.5. And Mete, I'll start with you. I guess which side do you like?
Good question. 2.5. Not that big of a spread. Patriots are home, but I don't know. I feel like the Bills are gonna go on a run and win out, so I'll go with the Bills.
All right, Terry, I'll bounce to you. I guess which side are you on here?
Give me the Bills. For some reason, I feel like what Mente says is true, and they might win out all their games, and this will start with the Patriots.
All right, Nate, I'll get to you. I guess which side do you like?
I guess I feel like the Patriots do have a chance of winning, but I'm only going with the Bills mainly because this is normally the Bills are favored in most of their matchups. So I guess taking the Bills as the underdog, why not?
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough for the Patriots to win back-to-back games. Of course, I'm going to side with the Patriots after seeing what happened last game. They pretty much ran whatever they wanted on Buffalo, and they couldn't do anything about it. It looks like that, J.C. Jackson's going to be on Stephon Diggs again. It's just a tough matchup overall. This game's going to come down to the wire, and it's whichever team you think is going to pull it out. Of course, the fanboy in me might be saying the Patriots, but I'm going to have to do it. They've been really solid this year. I guess getting to the next game, it's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars against the New York Jets. Terry, I'll get to you on that one from fantasy.
I don't know if I would even stop anyone coming from these two teams, to be honest with you. Trevor Lawrence has been a disgrace for me in fantasy. James knows it, Nathan knows it, Mente knows it, half of our league knows it. Outside of that, I lied. James Robinson is still running back one if he is fully healthy and he still gets all the touches he can get. Outside of that, Laquan Treadwell, he does look like an interesting wideout 3 if you guys have it. Flex option if you're desperate. Same goes with Marvin Jones, wideout 3 or flex. Outside of that, deep league starts maybe there on Ngombole if he does get a little bit of the split backfield with James Robinson. Outside of that, Laviska Shenault at wideout and James O'Shaughnessy at tight end. If you didn't hear anyone else's names, consider them deep league starts or sits as well. And that's all I got to say.
And then to the Jets, anyone?
Oh, boy. Don't even get me started with the Jets. I mean, at most, you could start Jamison Crowder. And if Michael Carter's healthy, you can roll with him. But outside of that, I mean, I wouldn't start Zach Wilson, Tevin Coleman, Keenan Cole Sr. I wouldn't even start the tight end. So at this rate, deep league sits or even deep league starts. So that's all I gotta say, man.
Yeah, it's really tough to trust either of these two teams. Like you said, James Robinson's probably your best bet if you're going to get a player from this game. We'll move into the spread now. This game's either -1 or +1, depending on where you go. So let's just make it a pick 'em. Terry, this pick 'em, are we going with Jacksonville or are the Jets going to be the Jets?
At this rate, is there even going to be a winner in this? This is going to be what Mete calls a toilet bowl. The Jaguars are probably going to be tanking for their first overall pick, so I might as well go with the Jets, and they will be the Jets. You know.
All right. And Nate, I'll get to you. I guess, which side do you like?
I guess I'll go with the Jets as well, mainly because I guess I trust them to win a little bit more than the Jaguars right now.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I think you have to go with the Jets as well. They haven't looked too bad their last couple of games. I don't know whether Mete, you'll agree with me, but I guess what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely agree. They're at home as well. And yeah, that's pretty much the only reason I'm picking the Jets. So let's go Jets.
Yeah, it's been tough picking the Jets all year. I definitely agree with you there, but maybe they do have a chance of getting the win here. Mete, I'll get to you for Tampa Bay versus Carolina.
Okay, so for the Buccaneers, standard leagues, Tom Brady, Ronald Jones looks like he's taking over as running back 1. Mike Evans, if he's good to go, Antonio Brown, pretty sure he's returning, and then Rob Gronkowski and Scotty Miller. Now that Chris Godwin's out, I think he could get looks. And then for standard leagues, for the Panthers, Chuba Hubbard, he had a rough week, but I think he could rebound. And then DJ Moore. Deeper leagues, if you're desperate for a quarterback, Cam Newton, he's got the rushing ability, so that's always clutch for fantasy. And Robbie Anderson, he's looked much better with Cam Newton as the quarterback.
All right, and moving to the spread, the Bucs are favored by 10. Mete, which side are you on?
The Bucs aren't home. They're kind of looking rough, but honestly, I think I got to go with the Bucs. Yeah, the Panthers, they haven't won a game yet with Newton, and yeah, I don't think they could even cover the 10 points. So let's go with the Bucs.
All right, Terry, getting to you. Which side are you on here?
Gotta go with the Bucs here. I mean, most of the Panthers' losses were more than 10 points. I mean, it's hard for me to even look for a loss that's not under 10 points. Outside of that, consider that loss last week for Bucs a write-off, and they'll get back on track against the Panthers.
All right, Nate, getting to you. Which side do you like here?
I feel like the Bucs match up pretty well against Carolina. I feel like it's going to be a case where Carolina might end up getting downfield, but the Bucs are going to find a way to stop them from scoring somehow. So I'm going to go with the Bucs.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say I feel like this is like a Tom Brady revenge game from last week. He's gonna be kind of cheesed that he couldn't get into the end zone last week. Probably put up a good performance. I mean, Ronald Jones is still a decent back if he starts. I mean, if they get Antonio Brown back, they still have some targets. Gronk's still there. I mean, and their defense just been solid all year. 10 points should be something they should be able to cover. So I'm gonna go with them. Then moving on to the next game. It's going to be the LA Rams against the Minnesota Vikings. Nate, let me get you on that one for fantasy.
So I guess for the Rams, you can take a look at Matthew Stafford. I guess maybe Sony Michel, Cooper Kupp, maybe Van Jefferson, maybe Darrell Henderson Jr. Odell, I'm not really too sure about, but I guess if you really believe in him, maybe. And then I guess for Minnesota, maybe Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, and then in deep leagues, Kirk Cousins, maybe KJ Osborne and Tyler Conklin, but they've been a little bit cold, so it's hard to say for those two as well.
All right, and we'll get to the spread now. Rams are favored by 3 points in this game. Nate, which side are you on here?
The Vikings are at home, but I guess I'll just go with the Rams mainly because I feel like they're deeper on paper.
All right, and Terry, I'll move to you. I guess which side do you like here?
I feel like the Vikings might lose more, but I'm not sure if it's going to be, within the 3 points or whatever. This rate, give them the Rams because they're on a 3-game winning streak and they're trying to make that push for the division championship. So, yeah.
All right, Mete, I'll get to you. I guess which side do you like here?
I honestly like the Vikings, and I think they could win. They're at home. They play to the level of their competition, and the Rams are a great team. So I'm expecting them to have a good game. And yeah, they're pretty much always in one possession games as well. So I like the Vikings here.
Yeah, I think the Vikings do have a chance to win, but I like the Rams' chances a little bit better, especially the way they've been clicking on offense. I feel like the Vikings defense has been underwhelming. This game could probably be won like by a touchdown or something. So yeah, I think I'm going to lean slightly with the Rams. Then getting to the next matchup, it's the New York Giants against the Philadelphia Eagles. I'll preview that one for fantasy. I guess for the Giants, you could probably start only Saquon Barkley, in my opinion. I don't think there's a lot of guys you can roll out from this team, considering Daniel Jones is most likely not going to play. And you're not even going to be looking at Mike Glennon or anyone else at this point. Then for deep league guys, if Kadarius Toney's back, you can maybe roll him out there. Kenny Galladay, Darius Slayton, Evan Ingram, those guys are pretty much all deep league at this point. And then getting to the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, you can roll out. Miles Sanders, if he plays. If not, all the other running backs, we don't know who's going to be getting the touches, so they're all deep league plays. Dallas Goedert, you can start in standard leagues as well. He's been really solid. Then deep league wide receivers, Devontae Smith, Jalen Reagor. And then I guess take your pick from Jordan Howard, Boston Scott, and the other running back, Gainwell. Take your pick at this point. It's coach's decision who gets the carries at this point. That's it for fantasy. And then moving to the spread, it looks like the Eagles are favored by 10. I guess, Mete, which side do you like?
It's kind of a big spread, but the Eagles are home, so I like that. And Giants are probably without Daniel Jones. So yeah, they haven't looked too great without him. I think the Eagles could cover.
All right, Terry, getting to you. I guess, which side do you like?
If Jones is out, hammer down the Eagles. If somehow he makes a miraculous recovery and plays on Sunday, go with the Giants. That's all I got to say. So, Eagles.
All right. And Nate, I'll get to you. Which side do you like here?
Eagles do look healthier, and at the same time, I feel like the weapons on the Giants side have been a little bit cold lately. Saquon hasn't been playing to his potential. He should be able to get downfield easily, but he hasn't been able to do that so far. So I feel like I should go with the Eagles.
Yeah, I think I like the Eagles as well. They've just been playing pretty well. No matter who's at quarterback, they've played pretty well. And I mean, the defense has been surprisingly really good this year. So yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles at 10 points as well. I guess just moving to the next game, Chicago against Seattle. I guess, Terry, I'll get to you for that preview.
So fantasy preview on Chicago's end of the football. You got to go Justin Fields as a quarterback 2, David Montgomery running back 1, most likely Darnell Mooney. If you have a wideout 3 spot, throw him in there. If not, flex option. Deep league, it unfortunately pains me, but you got to put Allen Robinson as a sit. And anything after that, you definitely got to sit at wideout. With deep league starts, you got to go Cole Kmet and Khalil Herbert if somehow there becomes a split backfield with David Montgomery. And with Seattle side of the football, Russell Wilson, low end, I was going to say wideout, but he is a quarterback 1. DJ Metcalf, that's our wideout 1. Gerald Everett, I want to say a tweener. Low tight end 1, maybe high tight end 2. And your deep league sits and starts shall be Alex Collins if he finds a way to be healthy. DJ Dallas as well at running back. Freddie Swain at wideout and Will Dissy at tight end. So if your players haven't been named, just sit them outright. But if you heard them, probably start them in deep leagues.
Yeah, hopefully Tyler Lockett can come back from COVID because this team really needs him at this point. And I'll get to the spread now. Seattle's favored by 6.5. Terry, I guess I'll start with you. Which side do you like?
If the spread is 6.5, I want to say go with the Seahawks here because, I mean, realistically, they are way better than the Chicago Bears, even though their record doesn't show it. There's a ton of talent on this team, as well as the fact that you have the experience factor in the Seahawks advantage. So give me Seahawks here.
All right, Nate, I'll bounce to you. I guess which side do you like?
It's kind of hard to say because I think Tyler Lockett is out, but at the same time, they do have some guys that they can look to. They still have Rashad Penny. DK Metcalf is questionable. Freddie Swain is questionable. And Chicago has an okay pass defense, but at the same time, even though Chicago's offense is improving, I'm not sure it's enough to kind of get them to win. So I'll go with the Seahawks.
All right, and Mete, I'll bounce to you. I guess which side do you like here?
Yeah, the Bears have been kind of underwhelming. They were able to move the ball against the Vikings, but I don't know, they weren't able to score points going for it a lot on fourth down. Couple turnovers, I think, and I've been picking them last couple weeks, and I'm kind of getting tired of them. So I like the Seahawks here.
Yeah, honestly, I think what it comes down to for me is the Bears didn't have their offensive play caller last week. I don't know whether he was out due to COVID or whatever, but if he's back this week, I don't mind backing the Bears. Their offense looked great against Green Bay. I feel like with Matt Nagy calling the plays last week, they took a step back. I'm not a huge fan of him and his play calling. I feel like he needs to be replaced at the end of this season. So yeah, if their play caller does come back and he's calling the plays, I think Justin Fields can definitely keep this game close the way he's been playing lately. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Bears on this. And then moving to the next game, Pittsburgh against Kansas City. Nate, let me get to you for that preview.
So I guess for Pittsburgh, you can take a look at Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, and Pat Freiermuth. And then for deep leagues, maybe Ben Roethlisberger. Not really too sure about James Washington. And then for Kansas City, you can maybe take a look at Patrick Mahomes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Tyreek Hill, and then in deep leagues, Darrell Williams, Nicole Hardman, and Byron Pringle.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be tough if they don't have Travis Kelce this week. I guess looking at the spread, they're still favored by 7.5 against the Steelers. I guess which side are you on here?
I mean, the Steelers do have a good defense, and I feel like Travis Kelce is their best receiver. So if he's not in, I feel like the Steelers have a chance to cover.
All right, Mete, what about you? 7.5 for the Chiefs. Which side do you like?
It's kind of a bigger spread, and I don't know. The Steelers have been really tough to call, but I feel like they're one of those teams that they play to their opponent's levels. So I think this could be a close game. So I'll go with the Steelers.
All right, and Terry, bouncing to you. You like the Chiefs at 7.5, or do you like the Steelers?
Somehow I feel like the Chiefs will pull this out. I mean, they're on a 7-game winning streak as well. They're not going to let a team that's third in their division stop them in their way of getting 8. So that's all I'm going to say. Hammer Chiefs.
I think I might go with Pittsburgh here. I feel like the Chiefs can still win, but I feel like this defense is going to frustrate Mahomes a little bit, to be honest. It's going to be a tough game. I feel like it could come down to the wire. And in that case, I'll take the points with the Steelers. Moving to the next game, Denver against the Vegas Raiders. Terry, let me get to you on that one for fantasy.
Almost forgot that was my responsibility. Who to start for Denver? That's gonna be a tough one. For sure you start Javonte Williams and MG3, Melvin Gordon the third. Start them as your running backs, maybe two, or your flex option, depending on how your situation is looking like. Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock, quarterback twos at most. Jerry Jeudy, I want to say wideout 3, maybe wideout 2. Noah Fant, if you're still rolling with him, you got to roll him as tight end 1. And your deep league sits or deep league starts, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick. You could put him at flex if you're in your standard league, but that's all I'm going to say. And then Mike Boone at running back. Outside of that, if you didn't hear the guys' names, sit him. And for the Vegas Raiders, Derek Carr, quarterback 2, possibly a quarterback 1. Josh Jacobs, running back 1. Hunter Renfrow, wideout 2, flex, maybe wideout 3. Who else is there? Peyton Barber, deep league sit. Same goes with Deshaun Jackson and Zay Jones. And I believe if Darren Waller is available, you start him, of course. And if not, Foster Monroe is going to be a tight end 2.
Right, and let's get to the spread now. Looks like the Raiders are favored by 1 point. Terry, I guess which side do you like?
The Raiders are by 1 point. That's tough. I want to say, yeah, why not? Give me the Raiders. If it's, you said it was 1, so might as well go with it.
All right, Nate, I'll bounce to you. I guess which side do you like?
I mean, Teddy Bridgewater is out still, I think, so they're gonna go with Drew Lock, and I feel like Bridgewater is better than Lock. And in terms of health, they're around the same. I think the Vegas Raiders have a bunch of people who are questionable, but so do the Broncos. So I guess just have to go with the Raiders.
All right, Mete, getting to you. Which side do you like?
Yeah, if Bridgewater is confirmed out, I think I got to go with the Raiders. But if he plays, I think they've got a shot at winning the game. So I think it all depends on Teddy Bridgewater for me. But for now, I'll go with the Raiders.
Yeah, I think I might like the Raiders as well. This is, I think, their opportunity to rack up some wins against banged up teams. They did it last week with the Browns. I think they can do it this week against the Broncos. So yeah, I'll go with the Raiders as well. And then for the Sunday night game, Washington football team against Dallas Cowboys. Mete, I'll get to you on that one for fantasy.
Yeah, potential division clincher for Dallas and on Sunday Night Football. So great time to do it if they could. Let's get to fantasy for standard leagues. For the Cowboys, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Dalton Schultz, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, and then deeper leagues, you could definitely look at Tony Pollard and Michael Gallup. For the football team standard leagues, Antonio Gibson, even though he's had a rough year, still got to roll him out. And then Terry McLaurin. Deeper leagues, you could look at Taylor Heineke if he's good to go, Ricky Seals-Jones, and Adam Humphries. I think he could be worth a look as he's getting more targets lately. And yeah, let's get to the spread.
All right, for the spread, Dallas is favored by 10.5. Mete, do you think they can cover that?
That's a big spread, but if Garrett Gilbert is the guy or Kyle Allen for the football team, I think they can cover that. If it's Taylor Heineke, though, I would go with Washington as that's a pretty big spread.
All right, and Terry, I'll move to you. I guess which side do you like here? Cowboys are favored by 10.5.
I want to say Cowboys, especially if the starting quarterback for the Washington football team is injured or still out. With that said, if Heineke somehow finds a way to come back, you got to hammer Washington football team. But that's all I got to say.
All right, Nate, I'll bounce to you. I guess which side do you like here?
Yeah, I guess like what everyone else said, it's kind of depends on if Heineke's in. I guess I'm just gonna assume that he's out, and assuming that he's out, Cowboys should be able to cover.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Cowboys as well. Either way, whoever's starting at quarterbacks, I feel like Washington's just banged up overall. I don't feel like they stand a chance away from home. We heard what they're doing about bringing their team benches into Dallas. We all know how that works when you try and play mind games. It doesn't usually go over that well. So I think Dallas should be able to get a big win this week. And then moving to Monday's game, it's the Miami Dolphins against the New Orleans Saints. I'll preview that one. So for Miami, you can start Myles Gaskin, assuming that he plays. Jalen Waddle should be back, so roll him out, and Devontae Parker as well. I guess for deep league guys, I'd probably say Tua, just because quarterbacks have had a tough time against the Saints. Maybe only start him in like a deep league. Mike Gesicki, he hasn't been consistent, so maybe just start him in a deep league as well. And I guess Duke Johnson, we got to see how much work he'll get this time around. So probably only roll him out in a deep league. Then for the Saints, Taysom Hill must start quarterback one. Alvin Kamara must start running back one. Other than that, everyone else on that team is deep leagues, whether it's Mark Ingram, Marquez Callaway, Traquan Smith, and any tight end. I guess moving to the spread now, it looks like the Saints are favored by 3 points at home. Nate, this time I'll start with you. I guess which side do you like?
It's kind of hard to say. Miami has been pretty good so far, but the Saints just shut down the Buccaneers, so I guess I'll go with the Saints.
All right, Terry, bouncing to you. I guess which side do you like here?
For some reason, I feel like the Dolphins find a way to beat underdogs in this and get the win. Outside of that, got nothing else to say for this matchup. Give me Dolphins.
All right, Mete, bouncing to you. I guess which side do you like here?
Yeah, I'm with the Dolphins as well. They're giving the points. They're red hot. I'm going with the Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, it's this winning streak for the Dolphins against a Saints team that has been relatively good over the past few weeks, ever since they've started to get healthy. So it's a tough pick here for me. I might slightly lean with the Saints because I feel like they have the better defense. I feel like both offenses are decently efficient, but I feel like the Saints could frustrate Miami a little bit with their defense. So yeah, I think I'm going to slightly lean with the Saints here. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of the preview for week 16. I think we pretty much covered everything at this point. So that's going to be the end of this Fanatics football episode. Make sure you check us out on Instagram and Twitter at Fan Podcast. We're posting updated picks for all of these games on each day that they fall on. So definitely go check that out. Check out the episode on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit the bell for notifications on YouTube. Leave us a review, comment, all that good stuff. And yeah, guys, great episode today. A lot of great matchups coming up in week 16. And we'll talk to you guys on the next episode.